Hey folks, it's Kary Oberbrunner. I am here with my good friend Jeremie Kubicek. Jeremie, how are you doing today?
What's happening, Kary? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, well, listen, I'm at the Chicago airport, and I'll tell you what, how relevant that we are talking about this topic. So, folks, what we're going to do in the next 30 minutes, you absolutely need to pay attention because, listen, I believe that Jeremie's next little bit that he's going to share about the peace index, I think it's probably the most relevant topic today. And the reason why is because we see it in the headlines every single day. Our world is not at peace. We're not at peace. Jeremie, why did you even write this book? Let's start right there.
Yeah, well, for years I've been working on this concept called the peace index. And the peace index is just helping people to kind of figure out inner peace when there is no outer peace. And then so that Wiley actually came to me, the publisher, and goes, listen, we know this content you have that seems like this is the best time. You think about Ukraine, you think about the issues with inflation, you think about the midterm elections, you think about all the Supreme Court, all of the social, all of the kind of systematic geopolitical issues that are happening in the world. So the idea is, how do you have inward peace when there is no outer peace?
So
And
good.
it's a big deal, and
Yeah,
most people aren't thinking of it that way.
folks, I got to read this because I love it. I've been working with Jeremie, and I've been seeing his passion for peace. Listen to this line: without personal peace, we're at war with ourselves and with the world. Jeremie, I was there. I used to be a guy who self-injured way back in the day, but I knew that when I wasn't at peace with myself, I couldn't love other people. I mean, even the scriptures say, love your neighbor as yourself. If you're at war with yourself, you're not going to be a good neighbor. Why are we not at rest inside ourselves? Is it distractions? What's the problem?
Yeah, so I've broken it down into 5 circles. So you can actually take this assessment, and it's a really great assessment. In fact, let me share it. Can I show
Yeah.
a
Please
slide
do.
here? Let me see if I can,
This is
I can
cool.
get it teed up here. Share my screen. Here we go. Hold on one second.
Yeah,
all right.
And folks, because he took me on this assessment, and I had to give my answers, and it was pretty eye-opening because there's areas where we're crushing it, and then there's areas where we're not.
Can you see this, Kary?
I can't see it, but you know what? Explain it, because you even just envisioned it for me that one day, and that was awesome.
Yeah. So the idea, that's right, is that there are 5 categories. There's people, there's purpose, there's place, personal health, and provision. And the idea is that every single person wakes up every morning with a number over their head. In fact, you're at the airport right now, you're going to look around, every person has a number over their head.
Wow.
Some it's a 72. The lady behind you, it's an 85. And she may, tomorrow, it could be a 72. Because every day it goes up and down based on our people, or our purpose is off, or our, personal health, whatever the issue is, or it's personal health in a person's life in your family. Your spouse has a health issue. Your kids have a health issue. So every day we're impacted and affected by other people. So the idea was, wouldn't it be nice if you could actually learn your peace index, and you could actually know what it is? And wouldn't that be nice, right? And so that is ultimately the big idea here, is that you can actually know what it is for yourself, but you can also help other people figure out what their index is, so that when you talk to someone, here's what typically happens. I go, hey, Kary, how you doing this morning, man? How are you?
And I'm like, fine.
Yeah. And then what are you going to ask me?
How are you doing? Fine.
Yeah, I'm good. And what did we accomplish? Nothing. Like, it really is not, how are you is not really like, I want to know. It's really more like, hi, Kary.
Yeah.
Hey, I acknowledge you.
Yes.
But the peace index, actually, it is a number over your head. So therefore, when you know what that is, you can actually do something about it. So the idea of controlling the controllables. And most people feel out of control because the external stressors cause a lack of control.
Oh my gosh, is that good?
So
It reminds me of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl looked and said, hey, listen, people are in concentration camps. The ones who are going to die are the ones who've given up on their purpose. And you're kind of saying, like, look, Kary, if you just say, how you doing? Fine, but your purpose is a zero.
no,
I'm not fine.
That's it. That's it.
I love that.
And so it gives definition. It gives more direction to know how to help someone or know how to help yourself. So let me just give you, I did it yesterday with someone. I started the conversation out with one of our partners and I go, where's your peace index? Because we hadn't talked in a long time. We took the time to go through it and she shared hers. She was at 84. I shared mine. I'm at 87. And so I went through and shared which one is the lowest. So when you understand which one is the lowest, now you have an action plan. Now you have a game plan. But your lowest might be different in certain seasons. And it also depends, honestly, it depends on your level of faith and or your. So for those who maybe have grown up with a faith component in their life or have a spiritual development in them, their peace levels are going to be higher. They're going to be a lot higher than a lot of other people because they've developed the space for peace.
This is so good. I'll tell you why I like this. So I am in Chicago, and two things. One is there was a massive shooting, a week ago. And as you look at that gentleman who did the shooting, we saw all the signs.
Right.
I mean, this guy was not at peace with himself.
Right.
And the back of your book says, if you're not at peace with yourself, you're at war with the world. I mean, and that's what that guy was. And so we could say, oh, he was disturbed. We saw the signs. Well, honestly, if it's pretty bold, if he would have had the peace index and been in a safe relationship to share that, could that have been avoided?
Well, you think about, obviously, it's almost like depletion of minerals. You don't have enough iron in your body. Well, if you don't have enough peace or purpose in your body, then it will show up. It will manifest in some way.
Whoa.
And so
that's so good. Wow.
So you think about. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, even the other day, and I apologize for the delay, but the other day, my wife was, we wanted to give her a break. She was checking into a hotel. We're like, hey, I'll take the kids. You just have a 24 hours. The Wi-Fi went out, and the people that were in line had different responses because at check-in, some people could not check in then properly. And one guy, she told me, went, and like he just went off and just started cussing out everybody. And another guy next to him tapped him in line and said, dude, they can't control it. Talk about those two different responses. One guy goes off and the other guy actually, a stranger has to calm him down.
Well, what's interesting about the guy that goes off, what we don't know is what his number was. Meaning, through vision, he may have lost a job. He may have been so stressed that the stress behavior of one causes an overreaction of another.
That's
so the
deep.
cause and effect. So as soon as you understand the correlation, like for instance, mother-in-laws can have an effect, or a situation with the people in your life. You're only as good as your weakest child, they always say. And so it's like a mom in particular could be wanting to do something with her purpose, but constantly feeling pulled back because of a weakness in a child. Well, that drops the peace level of that person. So
interesting.
So now, all of a sudden, if you start understanding the correlation of where someone's number is and which one's lowest, you can start helping that person increase their peace index. And then once they do, their influence goes up, their impact goes up, their cause and effect becomes positive, not negative. And that's what we're experiencing around the world.
So check it out. you got me thinking now. This is really good. I can see churches buying this book a lot because is it true that the individual families each have, the members have a peace index, and then there's a composite for the whole family based upon the average? What do you think?
Well, it can be, and it also comes down to influence. So let's say mom and dad. Let's say mom and dad aren't at peace with each other. It's happening all the time. Well, what's the issue, right? Well, they never addressed it, so they haven't dealt with themselves. Or let's say dad, his purpose is so low, and his spouse is not affirming him. So now, where does he go? He goes to self-medicate, or he pulls away from the family to get accolades at work. So what are the cause and effect of that? So what I do, there's a section in the very end of the book, and it's probably one of my most favorite chapters I've ever written. And this is my 6th book I've written, and this is my favorite chapter ever, is chapter 8 ever. And it basically is called Every Single Day. It's keeping the peace. How do you keep the peace? And I basically and I had to do it with myself this morning. I have a lot going on. So in this morning, I teach a section of calling yourself up. How do you call yourself up into your purpose every single morning? And I walk them through how to do that. I give them real specific details. So if you're going to read this book, you're going to go, oh my goodness, this is a game changer. And by the way, I've taught this to probably 200, 250 people personally, and it's impacted their life. So they do a call-up session. They then, during the shower time, there's this people of peace section where you start thinking and praying for people of peace in your life. And then you go out through your day, and at the end of the day, I teach them a version of the Examine, which has been around since the 1500s. But I teach a version of it. It's very simple, very practical, where they can actually be at peace with their day and put their day to rest at the end of the day in about 7 to 10 minutes. And so then at the very end of the chapter, I talk about the last thing, which is rest in peace, sleep. So RIP sleep, which is kind of morbid. It's not saying, hey, rest in peace. But it is learning how to rest in peace at night. And so guess what I'm saying is, what I'm going to do is I take people through a journey of finding out where your personal issues are and why they're there, why certain areas are low, helping you figure out the people in your life and where they are and the correlation between the two. And then I create a system for, if you get this rhythm of every single day keeping the peace, it will literally change the way that you live and the way that you think. So your peace levels go up because you start learning how to handle all of the chaos that's in the world, and you start developing peace internally. And each one of these numbers start rising. It will also affect your influence. People want to be around you, so on and so forth. So that's the purpose of the book.
This is awesome. I like this. Even I know we have people that are corporate or faith people or both, but even Jesus's name, the Prince of Peace. And wasn't it in the Old Testament where, I forget, but wasn't there like cities of peace? I mean, this is a big thing. And I let's face it, a lot of people think of peace as like weak because we grow up.
Give peace.
Yeah, exactly.
All of it.
Yeah, and even just, back in the day when I grew up, it was 80s, 90s, and it was cool to be tough and military and might and power. But I think you nailed it, man. There are churches that are not at peace. There are companies. Let's talk about the profitability. What if a company says, oh my gosh, my people are in mental chaos? How does that affect things?
Yeah, every single employee has a number over their head. So imagine if the team leaders, which are the most important people in the organization, if the team leader, anyone who leads a group of people, if they could actually understand what it is. See, a lot of times a team leader is like, hey, Kary, you walked in and you were late. And you know what? We don't do late. And it all of a sudden, I come at very aggressive. I use fear to get you back in line. But I had no idea that your wife may have cancer. And that is
Wow.
your number just went down. But because I don't have relationship and I don't communicate with you, then I'm just going to look at you and go, man, I don't know what is up with Kary, but he used to be really strong, but now he's not
Wow.
strong of a worker. No. We are way more complex than that. That was like the Industrial Revolution. We're in the digital era where we're affected and impacted by these devices. By one text message can drop your number from an 88 to 64 with one text
Oh,
message.
that's good. That's good. Wow. Okay. I think you're onto this, man. This is good. So it sounds to me that we each have a number, and this book is giving language. I mean, that's really, I was able to get an advanced copy. I was blown away. And by the way, if you folks do not follow Jeremie Kubicek, you need to. I follow him on Instagram. I follow him on social media. I've never met somebody, seriously. I mean, I'm a content machine. I've never met somebody who can crank out amazing content, not just junk, but like amazing content, and then implement. This guy's got a system for everything. He's got routines, he's got systems, he's got processes. Why did you? I know Wiley came to you, but they must have known that you had some skills in this area or something. How did you even get familiar with the language of this peace index?
All right. So it actually, when I lived in London, I had a Frog Ewing. His name's Frog, which is a great name. Frog basically gave a sermon, and it had elements of this peace index, not all of them. And we added to him over time. We're a friend of ours, and we said, hey, can we use this inside because we think it can have a lot of impact. And he had heard it from someone. So we basically took the concept of it and then started building other avenues and structured it in a way to make it more palatable. So for us, it's all about how do you help someone liberate someone else, which means bring high support and high challenge to people so that people are empowered to be an amazing leader. Well, you can't give what you don't possess. That's just a reality. You can't give what you don't possess. You may have an intent to, but if you're not healthy, or let's just say you give what you possess, you could give negativity. So you give to other people what is inside you. And that's why, like, all of the doomsdayers and the TV and media and all of the thing, we all know there's puppets. We're puppets, and there's puppet masters who are playing these sound bites to get emotion and sensationalism and all that. And what it does is it causes spikes of people. And then you create tribes of anti-maskers and maskers or anti this and that, or left and right, and blah, 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 blah. And to the average everyday person,
Wow.
it drives peace down because they may not be anchored in certain areas, or they may not have really established a core. And I think I just got tired of it. I'm like, okay, I'm tired of letting other people dictate my peace. And they go,
Wow.
what can I do with Ukraine and Russia? Nothing. I lived in Russia for 2 years. I know the system. I know what can I do about it? Not much. But what can I do with my family today? I can do a lot. What can I do with myself? I can do a lot. And how I
Interesting.
show up matters because it has a cause and effect to other people. And all I've done is basically said, look, I'm going to create a system for you to analyze where your peace levels are, those around you, and then I'm going to give you a system to actually increase that peace every single day. And then I'm going to teach you how to bring it into your organizations. So if you're a team leader, like you said, you should be adept at the peace index. You should be, you won't become a counselor. It's not meant to be for psychologists. I mean, psychologists will use it, but it's a simple tool and probably, just to be without exaggeration, there's probably been tens of thousands of people who are using it around the globe right now. I know inside Google it's being used. I know inside the U.S. Air Force,
Wow.
I know inside of Pfizer, companies like that. The Peace Index shows up and it's being used on a regular basis. And you can assess it daily. You can do it weekly. You can do it, monthly. It's a good check-in. If you're a coach, it's a perfect tool to add to your regimen. Or if you're a coach,
Oh, that's
so
cool.
those
Oh,
are
wait,
all
hold on.
thoughts.
Oh, hold on. That's amazing what you just shared. A lot of our people are authors, coaches, speakers. And what you just said is that you just gave them a tool that at the front of their coaching session, they could do what do you call it? Like a peace check-in? I don't know.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
check-in. Yeah, and they call it,
Okay.
let's do the Peace Index. Where you at? And it works. So
Wow.
this is one of 75 tools I've built. So we have 75 tools. This is one of them. And I built them, and I'm primarily a wholesaler to coaches, consultants. They use our content. Authors, they use Giant and my tools in their world. And so we made it a system where they can actually get certified to use it in a simple way.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, I know you're humble about it, but I heard about you 15 years ago. Back when I was a youth pastor, you started Catalyst and you've done Chick-fil-A LeaderCast. I mean, you've done some big things in your life. And I like how you are continuing that with Giants, but I love how you're kind of answering the call to be more of a messenger, a mouthpiece. And I think the time is right. Maybe even talk about that. I know this is vulnerable. We only got 8 minutes left, but you must have felt at some point that you were not at peace with holding back your voice. And then tell us
Yeah.
that process and what's happened.
So we bought John Maxwell's assets years ago and helped kind of turn those around and do some the marketing workshops. A lot of the training components we kind of built out. And I didn't start Catalyst, but they own. I took
Okay.
Catalyst national. They had started Catalyst,
Wow.
but I built it up, and then I started the LeaderCast, Chick-fil-A LeaderCast. So, but in that period of time, my piece started falling because my purpose was falling. Because I
Ooh.
was a corner guy, I was a corner man. I was a behind the scenes CEO who was more operational, but that's not my wiring. I'm an encourager, I'm a speaker, I'm a communicator. And so what I was doing is I was basically sacrificing where I was normally a communicator my whole life. I was putting other people on stages with this message that I was trying to, it was bigger than me, and it still is. We have over 800 people in the Giant community, and it's bigger than just me.
Sure.
But what happened was I realized my purpose was I'm a liberator, I'm a freedom fighter. I build people up, I call people up, I know how to see the
Okay.
best in people. And
Okay.
so what I do is I inspire and I motivate, and then I challenge people to have impact and earn an income and do those commensurately. And so for me, the journey of the Peace Index was highly personal because it caused me to reshape and go, what are my dreams again? What's my vision again? And then I started to look at the challenges of vision. I started to look at the barriers and some of the hurdles and gaps. And I locked it in. And so now my purpose is usually about 92 to 95% because I create content
Mm.
that helps change people forever. And it's being used, whether it's the 5 voices, whether it's the 5 gears, the 100X leader. My first book was a Wall Street Journal bestseller. So it was,
So good. Awesome.
making your leadership come
Can
alive.
you
Go ahead. Did you hear me? Did I lose you, Kary? Hey, Kary. So I'm going to keep going. So the idea is,
Yeah, you keep going. Keep going.
sorry, I didn't know if it was me or you. So the idea is I've written a lot of content, and what I've found is that I've built businesses around who I am, and that's allowed me to kind of play in my sweet spot. And so now my goal is to multiply that and activate other people to be peacekeepers, to be liberators, to be freedom fighters for other people, whether you someone in your team, someone in your family, someone in your church. And the goal is really just to give you and equip you with tools that you can lead and use to lead people and change their world. So once you own and understand the peace index and really get it, you'll never forget it. You'll use it for the rest of your life.
I love it. I love it. Folks, Jeremie is one of our speakers at the conference, and he is just a man that man that is an amazing communicator. And I'm so excited for this new book that's coming out. So, Jeremie, you crushed it today, and I know we're going to follow up with you more in the future. Um, but any last words that you want to say before?
I just hope that your peace index goes up after the Wi-Fi issues and all the crazy travel. Now, for the rest of you, I'm excited to get to know you. Excited for us to maybe you could try on some of my content, see what you think. It's 21st century learning, and I think you'll enjoy it. So appreciate the time. Thanks, my friend.
Awesome. Awesome. So, folks, you have Jeremie's link below. You have his Amazon link as well. Get the book today, pre-order it. Pre-orders help tell the world like this book is needed. He's got the Peace Tour coming up soon, and I'm just excited that he's coming to conference. So thanks for being here today. Go ahead and share this, tag people, and be a soul on fire, and we'll talk soon. Take care.